What's going on, everybody? Kyle Powers here with Haven Real Estate Group at eXp Realty. K-State grad, turned contractor, turned real estate agent and investor. As always, thank you so much for watching our channel. I really do appreciate it. If you do enjoy this content, I really would like it if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content, and give us that like because it does help us grow the channel. And today we are here with another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills, where business meets community. We are here with 𝐼𝐸 with Kaw Valley State Bank. She is a loan officer here at Kaw Valley. We're going to learn a little bit here about her business and what she likes to do here, what brings her to 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐾𝐿, why she stays here as a loan officer, and what she can do on this end of it. But thank you again, Amber. I appreciate you jumping in here with me today. I know some people don't like being on video, but I appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your family, all that kind of fun stuff, and what brings you here.
Yeah, I grew up in South Central Kansas in Winfield area and went to K-State grad here too. Met my husband. A lot of people know the Chase Manhattan Apartments, now the district. If you've ever been there, you really do know Manhattan. Met my husband there. He grew up in 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐾𝐿. We lived in Wichita for a few years and moved back with our kids in 2018. Love it here. Really, we moved back because of family and because of kids, but this is my favorite area of Kansas by far to be in. If I had to pick a spot in Kansas, it'd be here. What else did you want to know? That was a lot that you asked in one question.
Well, yeah, I just want to know a little bit about you, your family, your history. What got you into wanting to be a loan officer and kind of pulled into that side of that thing? And then, yeah, let's start there.
Okay. Well, we graduated in an era of bad economy, not a lot of jobs. So it was, you come out with a history degree, what in the world do you do? So I got into banking, and I had a loan officer at the first bank I worked with that told me, you need to be a lender. That's where the money's at. That's what you need to do. You'd be great at it. And I was really scared of it for a few years, didn't want anything to do with lending. And he talked me into it. So that's what I've done now since 2015. Started in real estate just with helping people buy their first house and all those fun things that come with real estate. And now I do a lot of other different types of lending. My favorite part of any of it, whether it's residential or business lending, is just knowing, this is going to sound so corny, but it's knowing you're really truly helping somebody to that next phase of life, or you're helping them meet their dreams and goals that they had. Without community banks specifically, we have a lot of flexibility that larger banks just don't have because they're scrutinized at a different level. Things that people just don't realize and probably take for granted with community banks. The smaller you are, the more flexibility you have, and the regulators will back off of you a little bit. So I've gotten very lucky to work with large institutions, but working here in 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐾 with Kaw Valley, they give me flexibility, the regulators give me flexibility, and I get to be able to help people truly accomplish what their long-term goals are, whether it is in real estate or if it's, creating a brand new business in the area. That's the best part, is just getting to be a part of that community growth and individuals' growth. So that's what I do and why I love to do it.
Perfect. I appreciate that. I guess one thing I would ask is, you kind of touched on a little bit right there, but what is one of your favorite things about being a loan officer? I know you talked about helping people, those kinds of things. So kind of about being a loan officer, and then also kind of what one of your favorite types of loans, I guess, was something I'd be kind of interested in.
Yeah. My favorite type of loan, I'll start there because that'll talk about my favorite type of customer. Sure. My favorite type of loan is anything that is creating something new. Construction is my favorite by far. Okay. People come to you with bids and plans. They might not even have that step. They might not know where they want to build. They might just have this vision and this is what they want to do. There's so many ways to go about creating that from that first conversation to the end, but you get to know people so well throughout that process too. I'm working with a couple right now. They are retired and they're building their absolute dream home in the Flint Hills, moving back from the Wichita area too. They grew up here, and this house just means so much to them. And I just, these are my favorite types of customers. You get to hear their life stories. You get to hear their experiences, where they come from, what they've seen, where they've been and how they got to where they are. And I just appreciate them so much. But I do a lot of construction lending. That's one of my specialties here at the bank. And then I do a lot of what's called bridge loans. Bridge loans are literally just bridging a gap of time and money. So you own a property, you want to own a new property, and you need to bridge that gap using the first property's equity. Maybe you don't have time to move out of your house first. Maybe you've lived in that house for 40 years and you have a lot of stuff to go through. So you're going to have to find a house and then decide what you have to downsize to and get rid of. But bridge loans, there's not a lot of banks that do them. There's not a lot of large banks that will touch them because there's just a lot of risk involved with, am I going to have that much equity from the day I close on that home until the day we close on the end loan and actually get that house sold? You might not have it that whole time. So that's why you just get to play like a little puzzle maker and create an individual puzzle for each person, put those pieces together. Everybody thinks lending is easy. It's black and white. You're working with numbers, and you are working with numbers, but there's a lot of ways to manipulate numbers. And I know a lot of accountants out there know that too. So when you're talking about manipulating those numbers and getting to that end vision and that end goal, the numbers really matter. And it's not just simple black and white. And it does take a little bit of artistry, which I am no artist. I am not creative. But when it comes to managing numbers, that's what I like doing. It's what I've always been good at, is numbers, and what got me into banking in the first place. But I just don't think I could sit in an office all day in the dark and just look at numbers. So I just get the best of both worlds, where I get to meet new people like you, build new relationships in areas, hear stories I wouldn't have ever heard. That's what I love the most. And it does sound corny, but I just really like meeting people and hearing their stories and where they come from. Kind of like what you're doing with me today. So it's different to be on this end of it.
Sure. No, and again, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sitting here with me today too. So that's awesome. Fantastic. I mean, that's one of the things that I do enjoy about working with you, is that you truly do care. Getting into, diving into the story, what you want to know, what that customer brings to the table, and how you can make the deal work. It's never just a straight no. It's this is how we get it figured out. This is how it gets done. And I'll tell you, I'll attest her, because she's done a lot of work for myself and my business partner as well. And so there's a lot of that goes into this. And I do appreciate your professionalism and everything that comes with that side of it. So I do want to say thank you again for that on the side note. Okay, perfect. So next thing is, I want to give our viewers we know a little bit about you. Tell us just briefly about the bank, what you can do here. And then I guess one last thing I'll kind of leave it with, and we'll have to come back for another video, but it's just kind of what types of loans are they able to do? I know that you've come in here. I know that you're not the only loan officer here too. So, what other types of loans are you able to offer through Kaw Valley State Bank, and then what that looks like? And obviously my goal is to get them with you, but just to learn a little bit about Kaw Valley and what that looks like as well.
Kaw Valley has been a bank since 1913. We started in downtown 𝐜𝐲𝐫, and we moved to this location, which is on Highway 24. So really easy access to Manhattan, and how I do business in Manhattan. It's just kind of going back and forth. But we are a family-owned local institution. We're one of 2 locally owned banks in 𝐜𝐲𝐫, which is kind of a big deal. There's not that many family-owned small banks in the same town anymore, but Kaw Valley specializes in ag lending more than anything. So I am a little bit of an outlier for them. Came in bringing in something new, and they do ag lending. They do commercial lending, lots of manufacturing, and specializing in areas like Topeka, St. Mary's. We have a location in St. Mary's, Kansas, and there's some really interesting businesses there I don't think people are aware of that exist. Definitely worth looking into if you ever have time. But yeah, we're owned by a family, and it's just a really small, Kaw Valley is just a family-owned, smaller institution, and you can definitely see that in a lot of what we do. The priority is always around the customer, and it's always around the community. It's not, how big and fast can we grow like a lot of financial institutions are at right now? How many mergers and acquisitions can we get? It's really about, we need to take care of the communities that we're in, because they're the ones that matter. If the community doesn't grow, the bank doesn't grow. So the focus is truly, how can we be a part of the communities in so many different ways in order to add value back to the people that we serve every day. So that's a little bit about the bank. We do a little bit of every type of lending for the residential side. And we do mostly conventional. We'll do some government loans. But the conventionals, anymore, there's so many things that they offer with the 3% down and things, that government loans, they're so expensive that sometimes they just don't make sense. Sometimes they still do. It just depends on, like I've said before, it just depends on the person and their situation, what you're going to do that's best for them, not necessarily what's best for the bottom line.
Perfect. So you heard it from her first. pretty much she can do anything that you need. Just come to her and we'll figure out one way that looks for her. So I guess one last thing before we get out of here, and I don't want to take up the rest of your day, is how do people get a hold of you? What can they do? Do they reach out to you via phone, email? What are those phone numbers, emails, all that kind of fun stuff? How do they get a hold of you? When's the best time?
Call Kyle and he'll just give you my cell phone because that's what he does. I appreciate it. The best way to get a hold of me, I do have a direct line. I am happy to give that out. The main branch number, because I do go out and do other things during the day as well to be a part of the community. The main branch line is 785-456-2021. That's the best way to get in touch with me. Just ask for Amber. I promise you I have loan support and I have a voicemail. I will get back with you. We have a group email address. That's the best way to get in touch with somebody the quickest. It's just mortgage@𝐾VSB.com. That's as in Kaw Valley State Bank. Just mortgage@𝐾VSB.com. We do have applications on our website, 𝐾VSB.com, and you're welcome to apply there. But I'd love to have a conversation first before you just jump in and, pull your credit and all of that. I would be very happy to have a conversation first to, go over some details and see what makes sense for you before we take that full application. That is definitely a part of what I do. And I like to get to know you before I just see the black and white and assume things.
I will tell you too, she does an excellent job. I've worked with her personally. I've worked with her as a real estate agent as well. So I know a little bit more about how she handles it. She does an amazing job of making sure the job gets done. So I would highly recommend reaching out to Amber. She does an excellent job. So again, I want to say thank you guys so much for viewing this video. I hope this has been informational for you. Again, this is another episode of Local Legends of the Flint Hills. And if you do have any questions or anything, I'd love to put it in the comments below. We can definitely get you taken care of and help answer questions on that side of it. As always, if you do like this content, please go and hit that subscribe button. Go and hit that little bell so you get notified of any future content, and give us that like because it does help us grow the channel. If you do have any questions about buying, selling, investing, or anything in the area, I would love to help out. My phone number is 785-477-5485. My email is kyle@homesforsale.mhk.com. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and check out for these videos because we've got another great episode coming up next week as well. So thank you again for watching. And Amber, I appreciate you joining me today. So thank you again.
Thank you.
See you guys.